Well. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. We are just right around 2 hours until the national championship game. Obviously, that is Miami versus Indiana. And we are going to be doing a Dynasty Superflex startup mock draft, the first one of the year. We'll be talking about the Natty. Obviously, there are some important names for Dynasty rookie drafts in this game tonight that you can get an extra look at. I know we're all kind of trying to get a grasp of this class and understand exactly where the strengths and weaknesses are. I think we've done a good job of understanding that up until this point. But on the Indiana side, obviously, you've got names like Fernando Mendoza, who is currently projected to go #1 overall. You've got Elijah Surratt, one of my guys, all right, in the 2026 class. One of my favorite receivers in this class. You've got Omar Cooper. I don't know if Roman Hemby is going to be something or not, but he's obviously in this game for Indiana. On the opposite side, Carson Beck. I mean, can Carson Beck play in a way that kind of puts him in that second round? You know, can he catapult himself with an impressive game today to be, let's say, a second round Tyler Shuck range, type of selection here? I don't know. Probably not, but it'll be interesting to watch. Obviously, we've got Mark Fletcher in this game. And then for all the Devy people out there, Malachi Toney, who looks like one of the better freshmen in the entire class this year. But what I want to know is who you got winning, all right? Who you got winning the national championship tonight? Are you going Indiana? Are you going Miami? Right now, the poll in the chat says 78% of you guys are going Indiana, and that just jumped to 79%. I mean, it makes sense. Indiana's like completely destroyed every competition that they've faced, including well, they didn't completely destroy Ohio State when they faced them, but they beat Ohio State. I mean, they've faced every test. To be fair, Miami kind of has the underdog status working for them right now. So they got a pretty good defensive line and offensive line. Let's see if that can help them this game. Hey, I am going to give away one of our team playbooks on today's stream as a giveaway, as a thank you for y'all being here. Many of you already know about our team playbook. If you want to enter that giveaway, all you got to do is simply like the stream and then type Natty. That is today's code word, Natty, N-A-T-T-Y. That is as simple as it can possibly get. So if you want to enter to win one of our live team playbooks for today, again, all you got to do is like the stream and type Natty. Let's get into it, shall we? I mean, we're here to do a Dynasty Superflex startup mock draft. In fact, I have not done one for the entirety of the 2026 season. That's right. I took the first couple weeks and was relaxing with friends and family and trying to recover from a crazy 2025. But here we are. If you'd like to join today's Superflex startup mock draft, it's very simple, guys. All you got to do is jump into, actually today I'm going to paste it straight into the chat. All right, today we're going to paste this link straight into the chat, and all you got to do is have an account on the Flock site, right? You don't even have to sign up in the sense of like pay money to be in a mock draft with me. All you got to do is create an account, and if you want to create an account completely free, then you can do so using the link that I'll put in the chat here now. Just use the promo code LAND at signup, LAND, for a free account. All right, and then you can jump into as many of these mock drafts for startups, for rookie mock drafts, etc., throughout the entire season. So let's go ahead and paste this bad boy straight into the YouTube chat, and I would love for you guys to join me. While I'm waiting for that to fill up, Alex says he thinks Indiana's going to win with ease. Dylan says, who do you think the Niners should draft at receiver this year? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. You guys have a lot of issues at other areas. I think Casey Concepcion's one that I keep seeing kind of floated around, so I could definitely see that happening. What's up, Sammy? What's up, Connor? Apparently, Connor's got beef with you, Sammy. He says you're disrespecting Justin Jefferson. Did you have him as a sell or something in one of your videos? That's fun. What's up, Alex? He says, love being able to chime in while I'm working. Yes, sir. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you being here, my friend. Appreciate you being here. All right, we have 3 spots left in this startup mock draft. If you'd like to join me, okay, they all just went. I apologize. All right, so we're going to jump into this mock draft. This is a startup Superflex draft, a PPR Superflex Startup Mock Draft. And I appreciate y'all being here. 60 seconds on the clock. You can go as quickly or as slowly as you'd like. You can also draft rookie picks as well, by the way, which is a cool little update that they've allowed us to do here. So instead of us going on Sleeper and drafting a kicker and saying, "Hey guys, just so you know, that kicker is this pick." No, I mean you can actually draft rookie picks here, which is great. That's how it should be. That's how we should be doing this thing. Drake May at the 101, Josh Allen at the 102. Obviously, the big news today was the Bills firing McDermott. What's his name? McDermott fired. So obviously he was let go. I'm not surprised that they moved on from him. I'm surprised they did it this year because there's not a lot of coaches in the wings that people are necessarily obsessed with, and you're kind of getting into the hiring process a little bit late. I'm interested to see what that will mean. So after Drake May go off the board and Josh Allen, we have Jamar Chase. We've got JSN, Bijan Robinson, Puka Nacua. I am on the clock here. A lot of options available to me. We've got some elite running backs. We've got some elite wide receivers. Yeah, interesting. I think I just want to kind of ride this train and see. No. I'll take Jaden Daniels. I was going to force a different player there, but I just feel like the quarterbacks are too nice on the board right now. I don't want to get too cute with it. I want to have some fun. I want to, try different things, but yeah. What's up, Paul? Welcome in. What's up, Scribbles? Connor says Jettas will be back to a 20-point per game once they have Make-A-Wish. Once they don't have a Make-A-Wish quarterback. I'm gonna close my mouth there because I got a video coming out next week for you guys, and we'll see what y'all think. CB says the Bills should have fired their GM before McDermott. You may not be wrong there. You may not be wrong. What's up, Theo? I explained earlier how you can join the draft, but all you have to do is have an account on the Flock site. You can create one for free. Use the promo code LAND at sign up if you'd like. And then once you have an account, you can join these drafts as many as you like. CeeDee Lamb goes off the board there at the 109. Again, appreciate y'all being here with us. We do have some of your teams that we're going to review today, so we'll get to that later on. I wanted to get a nice little stream here before the national championship game. I'm personally excited to watch, Mendoza and Elijah Surratt. Those are some of my favorite players in this class. Obviously, I like Omar Cooper as well. I don't think I agree with the first round hype we're hearing on him, but I do like him a lot. And then Mark Fletcher's a name that I'm not really sold on, but he's playing really well in the playoffs, so I don't want to undersell him either. So yeah. Dylan says the preview in March for 2027 will be like peanut and butter. Yes, that's right. In March, we'll give you guys a preview of the 2027 class. All right, so after Jaden Daniels comes off the board, we get Mr. Lamar Jackson, CeeDee Lamb, Jahmyr Gibbs. I like that you can click on them and it shows their logs. Burrow at the 111, Amon-Ra at the 112, Jefferson at the 201, Malik Neighbors at the 202, Caleb Williams at the 203. Just based off what I've seen in the market right now, I'm surprised something hasn't happened yet, but there goes Drake London. Again, let's see what happens here. Okay. I was curious where the 101 was going to go. You know what's funny is I just released a video today about what you can trade your 2026 first round picks for. And someone in the chat commented and said, there's absolutely no way you can get Patrick Mahomes for the 101. Absolutely no way. There's no world where that exists. You guys see Patrick Mahomes off the board yet? I don't. I do not. But there's no world where that exists. There's absolutely no way that could happen. You guys are too funny in the comment section, man. All right, I got Jaden Daniels in the first. honestly, outside of Trey McBride, everything else seems a little bit early for me. So I'll go ahead and take Trey McBride there at the 206. But yeah, I think this is the range for the 101. It's hilarious in that video because you've got people saying complete opposites in the comment section with like the ultimate confidence. You've got people saying there's absolutely no way that draft pick is worth that. And then you've got other people saying that draft pick is worth so much more. You have no idea what you're talking about. It's just hilarious at this point of the year, isn't it? What's up? Bossy says, how will CD be valued after GP either gets re-signed or leaves Dallas? If he leaves Dallas, obviously his value go up. And if he signs, I don't think it will change that much. I think people will be hesitant. But I don't think people will, you know, be completely like off the train either. But yeah, again, appreciate y'all being here with me. If you are just joining, we are doing a giveaway today in honor of the national championship game. If you want to win one of our live team playbooks, all you got to do is simply like the stream and type Natty into the YouTube chat. That's as simple as it gets. Like the stream, type Natty into the YouTube chat. And before we log off for today, we will announce one of our winners. Currently 20 entries in that giveaway. After I went Trey McBride, we did get Ashton Genty off the board, then Tetaroa McMillan. And again, I want to hear your thoughts on the national championship game. I'm excited for it as well. Jonah says, I have no idea what league to use my free playbook on, but I know I'm going to use it and buy up to tier 3. Love these new deals. I appreciate that, Jonah. That's very kind. Yeah, if you guys weren't with us last week, we announced some new offerings on the site, which included, you know, our team playbook, the one that you've always known. It's more accessible, more affordable now. It's the default tier 1 for you. Second thing we announced was the playbook priority pass. If you want to jump the queue entirely, you have that option. And then the playbook pro pass, which essentially gives you 2 playbooks instead of 1. And on the first one, you get the priority pass. The second one you can't use to then upgrade to another playbook pro pass, though. So you have to keep that in mind. All right. Jalen Hurts falls to the 211. You know, Sammy says, explain the Jalen Hurts fall to me like I'm 5. You know, honestly, it really just is all the tension in the building right now, right? There's a lot of players who are coming out and are not supporting Jalen Hurts. There are questions whether he's going to be the long-term answer for them. I would encourage people to think through this because Jalen Hurts' contract, I mean, I'm not sure how this is a tradable contract, guys. I mean, I guess we're getting close to a point where after 2027, you could say maybe they'll let him go $24 million worth of dead cap. But if they can keep winning playoff games or making it to the playoffs, I don't think they're going to let go of him. Wow, Colson Loveland at the 306. Here we are, baby. Here we are. That's has that shocked anyone else, or is that just me? Maybe I need to figure my stuff out. I'll go Bo Nix here. I'll grab Bo Nix here at the 307. I love Colson Loveland, but just surprised to see him go that high. I guess it's not crazy. I just need to adjust. It's, like I said, look at the title of the stream. It's my first startup of 2026. We got Hampton at the 209, Bowers at the 210. Achane, I really love that 101 turn there with Achane and Henderson. That's nice. Honestly, Allen, Hurts, and Pickens is nice. If Pickens signs a long-term deal in Dallas, he's probably going higher than that. Mahomes at the 303. That's an awesome start, too. I can't lie. That's an awesome start, too. I really like it. Let's see. Sammy says, are we seriously thinking Hurts isn't a starter at some point? Well, Sammy, you asked me to explain it to you like I'm 5. All right. So let me try and explain it to you like I'm 5. Twitter. Reddit. Twitter clips. And people talking. I think he's a starter, obviously. But yeah. Okay, what was I about to look up here? I was about to look up something. I saw one of you guys had a question. Was that good? I think a 5-year-old might have not even explained it that well. DRK says, is a second team review from purchasing the Pro Pass sent as a voucher? Yes, it is sent as a voucher, but we're tracking it on the back end. Like, you can't use that second voucher from the Pro Pass, then upgrade to a Pro Pass. Does that make sense? That would be a loophole, so we're aware of that, and we're marking those down as we go. Jonah says the tush push is going to be banned. Honestly, if the tush push was banned, I do think it would hurt him, but not this much. But I definitely think it would hurt him. And there's definitely more movement to ban the tush push than there's ever been. So I don't think it's crazy to suggest that could happen. Alex says Hurts throws bad. Hurts run good. Therefore Hurts fell. Jonah says, leveling a little high for me around the 3 to 4 turn is where I think I'm comfortable with him. So after Bo Nix, Brock Purdy comes off the board. I could have gone either of those guys. Then we get Rashee Rice, James Cook, Chris Olave, the 102. This is right where I thought the 102 would be. You know, right around these names like your Nixes, your Purdys, your Lawrence, Rice, Cook, Olave. That all kind of lines up with what I was thinking in today's video as well. Yeah. Spencer had a great question. Said, how are you valuing Brian Thomas Jr. this year and moving forward? Yeah, look, honestly, I think if anyone's telling you they know for sure how to value him, they're probably just lying. Like, not being rude, but they're probably just guessing. And I view him as a buy low. As of right now, I would view him as a buy low. Oh, I'm so annoyed I went quarterback looking at like Dak available here and all these guys. Oh, is Sammy on the site? I'll look at that in a second. I just realized, is Sammy on the site? We got Sammy on the site? All right, I mean, yeah, I feel like Garrett Wilson's kind of a no-brainer there at the 406. I thought my wide receiver one was going to be much worse than Garrett Wilson, so that worked out pretty well for me. Wait, is Sammy on the site? Okay, Sammy's got his rankings on the site. All right, moving up. Leighton says, how should I value Hampton versus Genty versus other running backs in the next 3 years? Oh, geez. I mean, you mean from here into the next 3 years? Well, I do think Hampton will develop into the workhorse there in Los Angeles. Genty is such an interesting case for me because I just can't stop. I know you guys who are like, you know, everyday listeners to the show, to Dynastyland, you guys already know this, but I just can't help but seeing. I get frustrated because so many people are using 2020 hindsight scouting when they talk about Ashton Genty, and pretending like he had like this abysmal rookie year. It's insane when you think about how truly awful the Raiders were this year. Like truly awful, every sense of the word. They were truly awful. And Ashton Genty still found a way to score 14.5 fantasy points per game as a rookie. I mean, when you compare him and Bijan side by side, Bijan had a better offense. He had a better offensive line. He had a more functional franchise he was a part of. He didn't have the volume that Ashton Genty had. But, I mean, I'm specifically seeing people doing hindsight scouting with the 2026 class, where they're saying, there's no way I would trade the 101 for Ashton Genty. There's absolutely no way I would do that. When last year, those are the same people that were like, oh, yeah, he's definitely a generational prospect. I mean, the numbers after contact, we've almost never seen something like this. How he carried his team on his back, historic numbers. I mean, it's just hindsight scouting. Meanwhile, you know, if you look at the 2025 NFL draft, it's hilarious if you just think about this exercise. Okay, let's just imagine where he would have gone instead of Las Vegas. So, if the Raiders don't draft Ashton Genty, where does he fall? He goes to the Bears at 10, maybe? That would be the first one that makes like a ton of sense. And then is Ashton Jeanty the RB1 in Dynasty football now? I don't know. Like, he very well could be. It's just hindsight scouting it, in my opinion. So I still think Genty's probably a buy this offseason, to be honest with you. But I think people are way undervaluing him. It's just a cool thing to do right now. And I find it a bit silly. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah. I mean, what will people say this time next year if we come out and, you know, Jeremiah Love averages 14.5 points per game? Are they going to now change their tune on him? Oh, I didn't think he was an elite prospect, actually. It's just silly, man. It's just silly. There's no patience at all. So I was hoping Luther Burden was going to come back to me. I think people may have seen him in my rankings a little higher than, and maybe my rankings are impacting where the averages are at right now. That's unfortunate. Was really hoping to grab him here in this round. Dak Prescott still available in the 5th, damn it. Oh, can someone please draft him so I can maintain sanity? For the love of God. All right, I think there's a huge drop-off at the 106 compared to the 105. That's just my opinion. You don't have to have the same opinion in this year's class, but that's where I stand. I'd hate to draft... Like, Dak Prescott is clearly the most valuable player on the board right now. I'd hate to draft him and screw other people's drafts over, but he's clearly the most valuable player on the board, in my opinion. At the same time, why not take my guy? I'll take my guy Jameson here. Start to build out that wide receiver room a little bit more. All right. Let's see. Scribble says, I'm still very high on Igbuka, which doesn't seem to be common sentiment right now. I'll take him in round 4 all day. Where did Igbuka go? He went the 403. I love Igbuka. Yeah. I'll tell you what would make people even higher on Igbuka is if Mike Evans retires, which he talked about this year. Like, everyone will be on Igbuka at that point. But if Mike Evans comes back and Godwin's healthy, I can see why there's some concern, because I mean, he was splitting time with Jalen McMillan when everyone was healthy. I mean, that's what people were really concerned about, you know. Bear says, people say Jeremiah Love is the same level prospect as Ashton Jeanty. Now, that is common. I'm not saying anyone's wrong for saying that. I just think people are like hindsight, you know. I just think their views on Ashton Jeanty as a prospect are changing because of what they saw as a rookie, but I think that's silly to do. Well, let's ask the question. Who was a better prospect? Let's ask the question. Ashton Jeanty or Jeremiah Love? Who's the better prospect coming out? I want to see what you guys think in the chat there. What's funny is like Ashton Jeanty coming out as a rookie and putting up 14.5 points, more than what Bijan did as a rookie. Again, different situations entirely, different levels of volume. But him doing that on probably the worst team in the NFL, if not top 3, the only way the Raiders can go is up. The only direction they can go is up, guys. You know, Mendoza, brand new coaching staff. Seeing Zay Flowers go before Dak Prescott makes me feel ill. But I understand it. He had a great end of the year. Ugh, the 106 is there. I just don't think I care. Sorry, is that rude? I don't know if that's rude or not, but I don't care. My heart says draft Travis Hunter. My head says take RJ Harvey. We'll listen to the head here. I like this team. I like the squad we're building up here. I thought my wide receivers were going to look far worse when I didn't take one in the first 4 rounds. Rowan says, people are not realizing how good of a prospect Jeremiah Love is because the stat sheet isn't the same as it was for Ginty. I mean, I think the stat sheet for me is not why I'm comparing them as prospects or devaluing one versus the other. Certainly not. I think the numbers after contact is what really separates Ginty from me if you're going to compare them as prospects. But not every prospect has to be elite after contact, you know. Jahmyr Gibbs, for example, was not some elite, next level, generational after contact running back, right? And what I've been comparing Jeremiah Love to this entire time is a combination of Breece Hall, Aaron Jones, and the best version of them. What are your thoughts on Zay Flowers? I like Zay Flowers. It's funny. He ended up finishing as a wide receiver 7. And anybody who owns Zay Flowers, I think they had absolutely no idea if they could trust him in the playoffs when it actually mattered. Like, these people who own Zay Flowers, like, well, great. His best game of the year didn't really count. Week 18 for fantasy football, it didn't really matter. Almost the entirety of the regular season, he was basically Khalil Shakir with a fancy name. Then the playoffs, he had some good games. I don't really know what to make of him. I would view him as a sell if anyone values him highly. Like, if I can sell Zay Flowers for a Luther Burden and get something, T. Higgins went in the same tier, I don't mind like an idea like that. If I can tier up to a Wilson, who's only a one round difference, if I can tier up to a Nico Collins. I mean, if I could sell Zay Flowers for the 105, I would do that in a heartbeat, because that means that and they went, within 5 picks of each other? That means you're either landing Mendoza, Tate, Lemon, and Tyson, and I prefer all 3 of those wide receivers as prospects over Zay Flowers coming out. And they'll have better draft capital, almost assuredly. What's up, David A. from Italy? What's up, man? Appreciate you being here. Scribbles says Chase Brown at the 6'11 is theft. Yeah. He was definitely on my radar. He was definitely on my radar, my friend. Cam Ward and CJ Stroud go ahead of Sam Darnold. Interesting. Interesting. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's interesting. Can't I just say it's interesting? Can't I just say them? Oh, see, that's a great pick. I was like, damn, I'm about to have a cheat code start here. Yeah, there's a drop off at receiver now. There's a drop off at receiver now. I'll grab Ken Walker here. I talked about this. I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. I released a strategy video last week, and like, transparently, it didn't do the numbers I thought it was going to do. But it was basically 10 ways to win your Dynasty League this offseason. Okay, and it was basically step-by-step things that you can do, talking about Dynasty principles, but also like the state of the 2026 offseason. One of the things that I mentioned is that I'm aggressively buying free agent running backs, aggressively buying them all offseason. And I specifically want to do that with my 2026 rookie picks. And Ken Walker is one of those names I mentioned, 4 or 5 days ago, whenever that video was released. I actually went out myself and bought him. This was before we heard that Zach Charbonnet had a ACL tear. So I don't know if you can get him this cheap anymore. But I'm aggressively buying, your Travis Etienne's, your Ken Walker's, your Breece Hall's, these free agent running backs. I'm doing that aggressively this entire offseason. I want to spend my late first-round picks on those premium free agent running backs that you can put them into your lineup day one. So I did this in a league about 3 or 4 days ago, and yeah, so I'll take Ken Walker there at the 707. Feel pretty good about it. And it's funny, Brady, you mentioned that, because that was my first thought too. What was your guys' thoughts when you heard about the Charbonnet tear? Honestly, it sounds silly. Like, I was more excited about the idea of Ken Walker and buying him because I thought he could potentially, leave Seattle. But I'm trying to play devil's advocate here because if you think about it, Charbonnet is not going to be ready to start the year. There's just absolutely no way. And that's comforting. And could we see a James Cook scenario where if the Seattle Seahawks bring Ken Walker back, they're going to have to pay him decent money? And if they do, which is basically what happened with the Bills, like with James Cook and Ray Davis, once they paid James Cook all that money, they said, all right, let's get as much as we can out of him. Let's just make him our guy. Maybe that happens. Also, there will be a new offensive coordinator, right? So maybe they won't do the whole split thing. I will say if they bring Ken Walker back, they're going to have to let him cook. So I'm trying to look at it glass half full, but I agree. I wasn't obsessed with it, honestly. Brady says, I thought he was going to the Chiefs. I'm the delusional guy. It was too much Kenneth Walker. Yeah. Rocky says, I bought Sharp for the 209. It was just too good of a risk to take. Yeah, in this class, if you have a player that you like and you're going to spend a late second on him, I'm never going to be like, dude, what the hell? You could have gotten, and then I'd have no idea what to say because I'm trying to remember who would have been my, 24th ranked player in this class. Let me see. The 209, who would that be? That'd be 12 plus 9. That'd be my 22nd ranked player in the class. Who is currently my 22nd ranked player in the class? In Superflex leagues, that would be Demond Claiborne, who I'm obsessed with, but I don't know if he gets drafted in the first 4 rounds. So that's just kind of the state of this class. All right, after I went Ken Walker, we have Bryce Young, Etienne, Javonte, Michael Wilson, Tyler Shuck, the 107, Dirka Henry, Laporta, Kyle Pitts, Jaden Higgins comes off the board. At this point, I do think maybe we're undervaluing these rookie picks. Like the 108, what's with Dante Moore out? That's tough. But the 108, I'm still going to get one of Boston, Concepcion, Surratt, or one of the running back, whoever the RB2 is. I think I'll grab the 108 there. There's not another player right now that I'm kind of obsessed with. I think right now we're undervaluing these rookie picks, to be honest. I mean, if you guys are telling me that I can sell Gadsden and Adams for the 109 or the 108, that doesn't seem right to me. I mean, I don't like the class either, but I feel like we may be, in this specific rookie draft, we may be undervaluing these rookie picks a little too much. I could be wrong. Roland says, for me, I won't believe that Walker can handle the workload without getting hurt until I see it. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, if they pay him, they gotta find that out, though, don't they? Scribble says, I'm genuinely excited to see where Pitts goes in free agency. Yeah, he actually did look good this year, didn't he? Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping he gets a chance to shine somewhere. He's probably in his best situation now, so the fact that he's gonna move on, I don't love it as much. So, with 46 votes, 63% of you guys said Genty was a better prospect than Love. I think the way that Jeremiah Love can be deployed is what people are... the question isn't, who do you think has a higher fantasy ceiling? Because I could see some merit there with the way Jeremiah Love is used in the passing game. I mean, we forget how good Genty is as a pass catcher, but I could see some merit there if you want to have that conversation with the true dual threat nature of Jeremiah Love's game. At the same time, I'd be so curious to see what Genty would have done behind that Notre Dame offensive line, though. And it's not like Notre Dame had some insane schedule being independent this year. They played some good teams, but... So all the rookie picks come off the board there. All the rookie picks come off the board. Michael Pittman off the board. What am I going to do next? Mac Jones. I mean, I truly understand the idea. I just don't love the execution here. Like, truthfully, I understand why you would have done that. But that feels just way too early. Yeah, I mean, I don't really love the player, but I'll take DK Metcalf. Will be a new offensive coordinator this year. I'll take him there as my wide receiver 3 in the 9th round. I actually really like this team. We're starting Daniels, Nix, Harvey, Walker, Wilson, Williams, McBride, Metcalf, whatever we get at the 108. I don't hate this, what we're building up here. Look, like, I don't think it's crazy to go out there and target Mac Jones. I think that's probably smart. Mac Jones is probably a bridge quarterback. Maybe he's the next Baker Mayfield. He's the next Sam Darnold. That's a complete possibility. But if you're going to target him, please do it much later than the 9th round. This is a guy that when you draft Mac Jones, you want to be like, I feel like I'm the smartest guy in the room because he went so late. He was so low in the ADP. And, you know, like, when you make the pick, you want everyone to be like, damn it, that's such a smart idea. You don't want them to be like, whoa, you're doing that now? You know? So, I don't know. I just thought it was a little too early. And, of course, if Mac Jones signs a 3-year deal with the Vikings or something, then you're going to look like a genius. But, you know, if he signs with the Chiefs on a 2-year deal, you know, you're going to be like, what the fuck did what did I do drafting Mac Jones in the 9th round? I just think I love the idea. Don't love the execution. You know, don't love the execution. But he's definitely going to have a chance to start somewhere. Is he even a free agent, though? I think that's something we need to consider. Is he even a free agent? I mean, Mac's not even a free agent. Wait a second. Yeah, I mean, I'm even more against taking him this early now. I mean, he's got another year with San Francisco. If you think San Francisco is going to trade Mac Jones, paying him $2.8 million, I got news for you, friend. If any franchise is not going to trade a valuable backup, it's going to be the San Francisco 49ers. Let me tell you something. So, I don't know, man. I think it might have been too early for me. I'm sorry. It's just my opinion. I'm not right a lot, okay? You know what? I'm going to take probably a veteran here. I'll grab DJ Moore and see where he goes this offseason. I think he's probably going to get traded. Sammy says, isn't a day 2 pick more valuable than Mac Jones? I think if you're playing Madden, yes. But, and I'm not, Sammy, you know I love you. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But I think that's how I play the game. I think with a Madden mind, right? I think with a college football 26 mind. I think with like how I'm managing a roster. But you think Shanahan's going to be like, hey, hey boss, someone's offering us a 4th round pick, a 5th round pick, a 6th round pick. For who? Mac Jones. Why the hell would I do that? Why the hell would I risk my 2026 season, my 2027 season? Why would I do that? I have no interest in doing that. I would much rather just know that I have Mac Jones as my backup quarterback for as cheap as it gets than get some random pick that I have no idea if it's going to turn into anything. I have no doubt that he would rather keep Mac Jones personally, especially someone who's as, you know, someone like Shanahan who's had so many injuries to his quarterback room. I mean, where do the Niners make the playoffs without Mac Jones this year? Without him playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games. Without him playing 9 games, do they make the playoffs this year? I don't know, maybe. Hard to say. In one of the toughest divisions in football? I don't know. Jake Ferguson at the 1104. Sammy says, we're allowed to disagree, of course. I just think he's got the confidence to find another Mac Jones. Sam Darnold was a backup before that, right? Yeah, but Darnold was already a free agent. So, his choice between keeping Darnold and keeping Mac Jones are not the same. To keep Darnold, he would have to give him a big old bag and match whatever any other team would do. To keep Mac Jones, all he has to do is sit on his hands. Yeah, interesting point of the draft here. I'll probably just draft like a Blake Corum or something here at the 1107. Yeah, I do like Malik Willis as well as like a late round. Transparently, Malik Willis is, if you're asking me between Mac Jones and Malik Willis, which one of them do you have most confidence as being a starter in 2026? My confidence would be higher on Malik Willis. I just think my confidence would be higher. I think we forget. You guys remember those rumors about when the Niners traded up and they drafted Trey Lance? Do you remember those internal rumors where people were like, Shanahan's guy is Mac Jones? I don't think he'd be willing to just move on like that. I don't think so. Especially at such a cheap price. $2.8 million. I mean, Mac Jones might be the best contract in the NFL right now. Yeah, if he was a free agent, I could get on board. But see, anything can happen. Things can change. But backup quarterbacks are very valuable in today's NFL, I would say. Very valuable. Okay. Appreciate y'all being here. Like I said earlier, we are doing a giveaway today. All you have to do to enter that giveaway, and this is one of your last opportunities here to win a free live team playbook, is simply like the stream and type Natty into the chat. That's as simple as it gets. Appreciate you guys big time for being here. Again, like the stream, type Natty. Let's give out some predictions before we do this giveaway. Predictions for Miami versus Indiana. I'm going to go out and say, I think it'll be a lower scoring game than people want it to be. I could be wrong, but I like these two defenses. I'm going to say 2013 Indiana. I'm going to say 2013 Indiana. Now, I would like to see a much more aggressive game offensively, but I think Indiana's going to win by a touchdown. What's the current spread on this? What are sportsbooks saying? What are the current spreads on this game? Currently, the spread is 7.5. Over under 46.5. Okay. So Vegas thinks there's going to be more than more points than I do. What did I say? 20 plus 13. Yeah. So that would be far under. So Vegas thinks it's going to be more like 28, 17 or something. 28 to 17. Something like that. Interesting. I hope it's a good game, man. I hope we get a good game. I hope we get a game worth watching. Dylan says Indiana's going to win 30-23, 35-23. I like it. I like it. Guys, I appreciate you so much being here. Let's do this giveaway. Currently 40 entries. 40 entries for a team playbook. A live team playbook. and then I'm going to get to some of your playbooks as well. Before I do, we are going to jump into some reviews today. I'll get as many done as I can before the national championship game. Just so you guys know, we did last week on our stream announce all new offerings for the Flock Fantasy site, and we went through those in detail. But just a quick recap: if you are an annual Mother Flocker with the promo code LAND, let's say you've already been one for a while, today you've got the best offerings we've ever given our annual Mother Flocker members. Okay, by far the best membership you've ever been given, but with the promo code LAND for our annual Mother Flocker guys. Okay, appreciate you guys big time. To go over those quickly, you've got the live team playbook. So by default, every review that you're going to get as an annual Mother Flocker member is live. You've got the War Room, which is a product that we'll show you here today, which basically helps you get a game plan for your rookie draft. We'll show you that on today's live stream. I'll be giving out people their War Room. You've got the trade hotline, which all of our people back in the Patreon days might have remembered the fantasy hotline that we had. And we're trying to kind of replicate that now and give you guys that value. Essentially what happens is you've got your entire offseason covered. You can get your team reviewed. You get your rookie draft plan. And then anytime you have questions about your Dynasty team, you can come back. 12 vouchers over the course of a year. You can come back and ask as many questions as you want. Obviously, you get the rookie report. You get $10 FastDraft credit and everything else that you used to get. I will say, if you want to claim your $10 FastDraft credit, very simple way that you can do that. Go to the Discord. And in the Discord, under the LAN tab, there's a FastDraft credit tab. And all you need to do if you're a annual Mother Flocker member is fill out that form. I've already gotten some credit out to people last week. But if you want to claim your free $10 on FastDraft, then again, make sure you sign up on FastDraft with the code LAND, obviously. But fill out that form. I'll make sure and give you that $10 free credit for FastDraft. Appreciate you big time. And then obviously we offered some brand new things with a la carte. We've got the live team playbook, which is now standard on tier 1, the priority pass, which lets you skip the queue entirely, and then tier 3 is the playbook pro pass, which actually gives you 2 playbooks, not 1. Now the kicker is there on the pro pass, you can't use a voucher that you've gotten from the pro pass to then upgrade again to the pro pass. You can't go through that loophole. All right, let's do the giveaway, shall we? We've got how many names? 43 entries. Let me copy these again. 43 entries. All right, here we go. Good luck, everyone. 43 entries. And today our winner is... Oh, so close to Jonah. The winner is Justin Johnson. So Justin Johnson, all I need you to do, my friend, is simply DM me on Discord. There is my username. I need your Flock Fantasy username so I can hook you up, my friend. Appreciate you big time. All right, let's get into the grind, if you will. And let me actually just write this name down for myself. Okay. Is FastDraft coming to the UK at any point? I think they're working on that, yeah. I think they are working on trying to get to as many places as possible. I want to get into some drafts here soon on FastDraft as well. All right, let's go through some reviews here. Gido had that keeper. Maybe I'll do that keeper once the national championship game has started. Let's go to Leo Trop. Leo Trop. What's up, Leo Trop? Let's have a gaze at this squad. Again, appreciate you being here, my dude. So this is a team playbook. He says, hey guys, just curious on what you think I should do with my team. I went for the championship, and let me put my camera up there at the top. Okay. There may be some space today. I'm just going to see how many I can get through as long leading up to the national championship. Okay, Leo Trops says, I went for the championship but fell short. My team is still young and can contend, I think, for at least 2 years, but any ideas? Always trying to make my team better. Would like someone to tier up at wide receiver, but league is stingy trading. Okay, so we in this league have a 1 quarterback 10 team start 11. That's a huge lineup for a 1 quarterback league. That's our depth is king lineup. So that is a big boy lineup. There's no doubt about that. You are currently, what's your team name? Laporta Potty. Laporta Potty. You are currently ranked 8th, which is awesome. And let's get through some admin here before we jump into this review. Okay. So, in a 1-quarterback league, start 11, you've got Mahomes, Herbert, Jones, Malik Willis. That's more than enough at quarterback. At running back, you've got Genty, Judkins, Monangai. That's a good group. Outside of that, Tootin, Mason. It's definitely top heavy, but it's a good group. At wide receiver, you've got Olave, Jameson, Brian Thomas, Waddle, and Addison. Definitely not like any elite name there at wide receiver, but a good cohesive group. And then at tight end, you've got plenty of options there with like your Tucker Crafts, your Sam Laportas. Now, you have pretty much committed to going all in because you don't have a first this year. You don't have a second this year. You don't have a third this year. With your 2027 picks, you don't have a first or second either. So you have very much committed to, you know, compete this year. And I'm going to try and keep that in mind as we have a look at your squad there, my friend. And we'll have a look at all the options you've got with all the assets that you've got. And I'm just going to add this to your war room. Only have 4th round picks to work with right now in this class, at least. Not loving that. So straight off the bat, 2 things that are fairly obvious to me is number 1, you need to compete. Okay. So you're very much in this windows open, mindset in the sense of there's no reason not to compete, right? No picks in 26 that are useful. No picks in 27 that are really useful. And you've got just a window now that I think you need to jump into. As far as team grade, your starting lineup in a start 11 is Mahomes, Genty, Judkins, Olave, Jameson, Kraft. Then you have to start 5 more names. That's crazy. Those 5 names are probably Brian Thomas, Jalen Waddle, Addison, Laporta, Gadsden, maybe Tootin, Monangai. So you don't have the strongest depth either, if we're being 100% honest. I would put this at like a... Look, I think honesty is important. The way this team is currently set up, maybe if you had your first, I would give you like a B flat. I think with the draft picks, the way that they are, and the depth that you need in this league, I would put you at like a C+. I think transparency and honesty is more important than anything else. What's up, Duke? He says, what's up, Z? I'm trying to figure out how my Flock membership works. I'm an annual member, but none of the amenities have come back. Duke, why don't you let me know what your Flock fantasy username is, man? And did you use our promo code LAND at sign up? That might be why you haven't gotten any of those perks. Let me know either way. I'll find a way to help you out there, my dude. Zom says, would you still be on the free trial? That could be the reason why as well. If you're on the trial, just make sure you have the promo code LAND in there before you go through. But I'll definitely help you out as much as I can, my dude. All right, so like we said, C+, Windows open mindset here. We've really got what we've got, and we need to make it work. That's the way I'm viewing this squad. That being said, let's jump into the war room. Unfortunately for a team like yours, the war room is probably not going to be as impactful as some other teams. If you stick and pick, then you're going to go BPA, which means best player available in case we've got any new people to the show here. And then if you're going to trade it, I would just say package for any vets, right? Like on their own, these picks are probably not worth anything in any class, definitely in the 2026 class. So because you have almost little to no draft picks to work with this year, that's your game plan with these guys. If you can throw any of these picks in a package and get some veterans to help you compete, beautiful. Otherwise, they're really worth nothing to you. This class is so weak. If there was a 5th round pick in last year's class, I would have preferred it over a 4th round pick in this year's class. Okay, so do not be stubborn with those draft picks. You can take a screenshot of that war room if you please. But where we're really going to do the meat of this review for your specific team is looking at your chalkboard. Okay. We have what we have. How do we manipulate around it? How do we make it work? I kind of wish this was a super flex league, to be honest with you, because I would like your depth a little bit more. In fact, let me just make sure that this isn't a super flex league. It's showing as super flex on the back end, but on the front end, it's actually showing as one quarterback. Let me double check. Okay, this says 10 team Superflex tight end premium. Okay, so this is actually a Superflex league. That's good news. That's actually good news, because I think you have a better team with that context. So you're actually a start 12 Superflex 10 team. Okay. Start 12 Superflex 10 team. So with that in mind, I actually think that your starting lineup is actually much better. Your windows open is not going to change, but now you've got Mahomes, Herbert, and keep Willis on this team for sure. That just makes your depth better. I like that a lot. So I would actually put this at more of a B flat now that we understand that it's a it's not a one quarterback league. So that's actually really helpful context. It doesn't change your war room at all. So draft capital grade, I think it'd be silly to give you anything other than an F. I think you'd be aware of that. You just have no useful draft capital. Your overall team grade as of today is a B. We're going windows open. Your untouchables. Do you have any? Maybe Ashton Genty. You don't really have any others, to be honest, man. As far as holds go, I would hold Malik Willis. You're going to need him maybe with the injuries at quarterback that you've got. I would hold Pat Bryant for sure. I would hold Kyle Monangai. I would hold Bashul Tutin. Easy drops. If you want to drop players, you can drop Taj Brooks to clear space, LaKent Allen to clear space, Darren Waller if you need more space. Probably Luke Musgrave at this point. He hasn't done anything to suggest he's going to be an important part of that offense, even with Tucker Kraft injured. Devon Vele needs to be rostered for sure if he's out there. Devon Vele, Joe Milton, both definitely worth rostering. If you guys give me 1 second, I want to let our dev team know about this issue, because that's a pretty big one, and I want to make sure we get that figured out here sooner rather than later. So give me just 1 second here. Stream mode showing wrong formats. All right, cool. Appreciate your guys' patience. Just want to make sure I get that there before I forget. Okay. But honestly, I think we're in a better spot now that we know this is Superflex. All right, let's get to the chalkboard. And let's come up with some ideas on how we can improve this team. Honestly, we could have used Mahomes to build a more cohesive team, but now that he's gone down with that injury, probably can't. Yeah, you're kind of limited because you need all these players in such a deep format. So again, your starting lineup is Mahomes, Herbert, Genty, Judkins, Olave, Jameson, Kraft. And then you need to start 4 or 5 more names, right? Between Thomas, Waddle, Addison. Yeah. Oh, man, these picks are just not worth anything either. Man, Daniel Jones has an injury. Patrick Mahomes has the injury. Judkins coming back from injury. You really need these guys to stay healthy, man. You really need these guys to stay healthy. That's tough. Honestly, I feel comfortable with Herbert and Jones. I don't think you do this now, but I would say getting closer to the season, try to tear down from Mahomes, right? You can't do it right now. Right now is not a good time to do it. But the reason I'm suggesting this is because, number one, you don't need to force a move right now, okay? We are in January. The season starts in September. And number two, you don't really have leverage anywhere else. Okay, what am I going to tell you? To tear down from Ashton Genty? We'll try it. I don't think it's worth your time. You can't tear down from any of those receivers. Tucker Kraft is coming back from an injury. To be fair, though, you have a tight end premium. I think it was 0.75. Yeah, the more I look at this team, the more I think you're actually just fine. But, you know, Mahomes, Herbert, Genty, Judkins, Olave, Jameson, Kraft. Then you can actually flex Laporta and Gadsden if you wanted to. But you've also got those names there that you can start at receiver. But ideally, let's think about what we can move off of Mahomes for. Let's see. What are some names that can make sense? Like Trevor Lawrence. Like a Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence in a first, I think would make a lot of sense if you can get that done. Again, right now you can't, but I think closer to the year you probably could. Could you go to Jackson Dart? I don't think so. I think they're too close. Jared Goff's another great option. So like Jared Goff and Chase Brown. I think that's actually perfect for you because you definitely need a RB3 there on that team if you can. I would even do that for Kyron Williams as well, obviously. Either of those names I would be comfortable with. Goff is probably a really good sweet spot there for your team. I don't think I want to tear down to a Murray or a Shuck. If it was Shuck, I would need like Shuck and James Cook or something. You know, I need like Tyler Shuck plus James Cook plus like a 27 second. Something like that. I mean, does he have a veteran receiver he could give you? No, not really. Yeah, it would need to be worth it. Baker Mayfield's a great tear down option right now if you get like a Baker and an AJ Brown. That actually might work well. Then you can use AJ maybe for a running back. Honestly, I'd love to get Baker and Saquon. I don't know if that's possible right now, but that would be like ideal goal if there's a way that you can wiggle and make it work. I don't mind the idea of like a Sam Darnold. I just don't know what that RB would be. Oh, Walker and Darnold would have been perfect if they were on the same team. Love CMC. That could be an option too. I think those are your main options there. But honestly, man, you don't have much transparency. Like, you don't have much fluidity on this team. Like, you need the depth at receiver. You can't really sell these guys. Xavier Worthy's worth nothing. I mean, I would have preferred to sell him last offseason. He's not worth anything now. Jordan Addison is definitely a hold. Yeah, you need the depth you've got here, man. You don't have the running backs to trade away. If anything, maybe you could look at selling Gadsden. That's the only other thing I can think of here before I log off. Or not log off, but go to a different team. Who needs tight end? Surely someone needs tight end in this league. The guy who has Kincaid is probably fine. The guy who just lost Kittle. Could you do something like where you get DeAndre Swift plus a second, you send Gadsden in a third? Something like that could potentially work. I see some questions in the chat. I'll get to you guys here in a second. Hold on. I see y'all. Not a lot of people have a tight end need. The guy who has Kelsey, this could be perfect. All right, yeah. Can we just do a swap? Can you give us Derrick Henry? Right? Can you give us Derrick Henry there? If you're going to go all in, you might as well have Durka. I don't think CMC is realistic. So those are some options for you, man. I appreciate you big time. Thanks so much for showing some support to the channel. You should get your playbook in the next 3 to 4 days. You've already got your war room, and I appreciate you greatly for letting me look at the squad. Let's have a look. Username Duke98. Let's have a geese here. Duke98. Let's go. Duke98. Duke98. Annual Mother Flocker. So Duke, you became an annual Mother Flocker April 24th, 2025. And I can see that you've used, at that time, you would have been granted a team playbook voucher, a trade question voucher, and a start sit voucher. And I can see on the back end that you've used your playbook and your trade question voucher. So my friend, when your annual membership renews in April, you'll get all the benefits of what I just mentioned for our annual Mother Flocker members. You'll get all those benefits. And like the FastDraft credit, you can come claim now if you want, but you've already used some of those membership offerings from last year. So you got to wait for it to renew, but you do still have access to the a la carte stuff, and you'll get a 30% discount off of all a la carte. What's up, Casey says, I know you've gone over this, but is $79 a la carte playbook live? Yes. Tier 1 is playbook, is a live playbook. All right. That's correct. And that's for a la carte. What's up, Seahawk Palooza? Would you trade Jalen McMillan and Marvin Harrison for a Mecca Egbuka? I would. I love Jalen McMillan, but I would do this pretty easily. Are there any other trades here? Tiki Torch. Would I send the 109 for Kyler Murray? Not a chance. I'll take the 109 there. I'm all aboard trading for Kyler Murray in Superflex formats, but there's just no way he should cost this much. I just do not believe he costs that much. Nobody in Dynasty is like a Kyler Murray believer anymore. There's just no way he should cost you that. All right, I think we've caught up with those trade questions. Next one on the docket. Let me just see if we've got any priority passes that I need to move up here. So OD here. Okay, cool. I want to make sure. Okay, so OD is our first pro pass. Appreciate you big time, my friend. First pro pass of the day. So we're going to go ahead and give him priority on this first playbook. Appreciate you big time, my friend, for being here. Again, anybody who purchases that pro pass, they are going to get not only 1 team playbook, but 2 team playbooks. And of course, on that second playbook voucher that you receive, you can't upgrade that into a pro pass. But I'm going to go ahead and, while we're here right now, give you that free team review voucher from the pro pass. So now you have 2. Appreciate you big time, my friend, for showing love to the channel. And I'm going to add you to our database here of guys who have gotten the pro pass. Appreciate you big time. All right. So that is already in your voucher inbox there, my friend. You can use that at any point. All right, so OG, what's up, dude? He says, looking for advice on my Dynasty squad, which always seems to finish in the middle. I won our toilet bowl this year, so I have the first pick. We also have a college squad that we can keep 2 players and draft in September to fill empty spots. It's a super flex, and tight end premium is 0.5. Okay, so we do not have the ability to look at the squad outside of the screenshots, but that's okay. I'll do my best. Your team name is Raging Cajun. Can we see that somewhere here? Where is Raging Cajun? Okay, yeah, I see your team there. So team name is Raging Cajun. Your rank right now, not available. You are in a 1 quarterback 12 team start 10. 1 quarterback 12 team start 10. So that is our rolling deep. All right, what kind of draft capital have you got? Where was your team at again? So I can't see your draft capital here, but in 2026, this is like almost like a Devi squad. I wonder if is OD in the building with us? I won our toilet bowl, which means I have the first pick. We also have a college squad that we can keep 2 players and a draft in September to fill empty spots. So it's less. I'm going to treat it like it's a dynasty squad, but it sounds like it's more of a keeper. Draft capital grade, I'm just going to give you a B flat because it sounds like you've got the first pick. Let's have a look at the squad. So you've got, in a 1 quarterback league, Trevor Lawrence, Darnold, Murray, that's fine. You've got Mixon, Benson, Brian Robinson, which is not great at running back. At wide receiver, you've got Neighbors, Evans, Pearsall, Hunter, Coker. We've got Taylor Kittle, who Kittle just tore his Achilles. You've got Tyler Shuck. Is that your bench? I don't know what that is there, to be honest. Okay, so in a start 10, you're starting Lawrence, 2 running backs that we don't really know yet about. Maybe that's Mixon and Benson. Neighbors, Evans, one of those tight ends. And then you're going to have to flex, Pearsall, Coker, Hunter. It's not ideal right now, man. It's not ideal. It sounds like you have the 101. We're going to go with a... If this was a dynasty team, I would tell you to rebuild. I would tell you to punt 1 year. But if it's not... I'm just going to treat it as a dynasty team. I'm a little bit confused. I would say this is a 1-year punt. I don't think this team is a legitimate contender. You have no running backs at all. At receiver, you've got enough there, but this team is just not ready to compete right now. I would probably give it like a C-, transparently. Untouchables on this team, I don't think there is outside of Malik Neighbors. That's probably your untouchable. If you want to hold names like Coker, that's great. If you want to hold names like McMillan, that's great. Those are great options. Drops, I mean, you can drop Dean Mercado for sure. Even if this is a redraft league, you could drop him. You can drop Samaje Perine. Those are easy drops. Yeah, very easy drops. All right. Let's just go straight to the chalkboard for this one. And it sounds like you've got the 2026 101, so we'll talk about that. You don't really have any leverage on this team outside of like Malik Neighbors. If it's a keeper, then I would be keeping Malik Neighbors, and you better, honestly, you'd be in a much better position if this was a keeper. I guess Malik Neighbors and Travis Hunter. Honestly, I think you should hope this is a keeper, because otherwise you've got a long road ahead of you. But at the 101, you're going to draft Jeremiah Love. Now, the problem is, if you want to compete right now, if you draft Jeremiah Love at the 101, and I'm trying to figure out what all this means. That was the 2025 draft order. So you were drafting rookies. Remind me your team name again. Raging Cajun. There must be RC here. Raging Cajun. So you've got Manning, Jonah Coleman, Joyner. So I think Jonah Coleman is going to be joining your team. It sounds like new additions. Jonah Coleman. Now, when you say you've got the first pick, you either are trying to say that you've got the 101 and you're going to draft incoming rookies, or you've got the 101 in your you know, regular draft next year. Yeah, this team is not very good, to be honest. So for your sake, I hope it is a I hope it's a keeper league only. But if it is a rookie draft, you know, Jeremiah Love is someone that you could draft. You could also tier down from Jeremiah Love. You know, I'm thinking hypothetically some names that would make sense. So if you can go and you can get a James Cook, you know, James Cook plus a future first, you know, James Cook, if that was a running back, for example, you know, can you get James Cook and Bucky Irving? You know, again, just hypothetically, can you get James Cook plus a future first and a future second? I don't know. You tell me what's possible in your league. Only you would know that. If this means that you have the 101 in future draft, I'll give you those two different pathways. If you have the one in a redraft, I'm assuming people are going to keep names like Jamar Chase and all these top names, but you know, obviously, guys that I would love to keep would be Ashton Genty, Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs. If any of them are available, your Jamar Chases, your JSNs, your Puka Nakuas. So I'm trying to navigate this with the information that I have. Let's have a gaze here. When trade is made, playoff seeding, toilet bowl. I'm assuming this is more of a dynasty league based off of what I'm seeing here. I mean, the 101's more valuable in a dynasty league probably as far as like making moves for your team. Yeah. I mean, alternatively, you could go for like another idea here with the 101 if it's a rookie draft where you get, let's say, like a Quinshon Judkins plus, you know, 2 future firsts, or, you know, the same idea with like a Cam Scattaboo. But obviously, you want to make sure those firsts are not late either. You want them to be valuable firsts. But if this is a dynasty league, man, again, full transparency, I'm definitely looking to punt this thing straight into the sun. If it's a keeper league, you're in a better spot because you're going to keep Malik Neighbors, which is great, and then you get to completely re-roll next year. And it sounds like you'll add Jonah Coleman to your roster. So I hope it's a redraft league, but I appreciate you, man. Thanks for letting me view the squad. I'm going to give you a free trade question voucher to come back because I want to make sure that I've got that right. I appreciate you big time, my friend. Thanks for letting me look at the squad. And you've already got that Pro Pass voucher in your inbox. All right, let's have a geese here. Let's have a geese. Next up. Let's see. Got IC Born. I just want to make sure I prioritize those people who have the priority pass. Okay, so we've got some priority passes we'll get to here first from some pro passes, sorry. DRK, anytime you guys get the pro pass, you kind of jump the queue with that first one. So we've got DRK, we've got Jamie, and we've got Scotty Boops, who will all jump the queue. And I'm trying to see if I can get through all of them today. I'm going to do my best. Let's go to DRK here. All right, DRK. In Dom, we trust. In Dom, we trust. Let me see if this is actually Superflex. This is Superflex 12-team start 10. Okay. Superflex 12-team start 10. I know it says one quarterback on the front end, but it's actually a Superflex league. So let me grab that for you. Superflex 12 team start 10. That's the middle ground. That's relatively reasonable. Not, depth isn't like too crazy, but it definitely matters still. All right. All right, so In Dom We Trust is our name. We are currently ranked 6th. 6th out of, is it a 12 team? It's a 12 team, so we're pretty much right there in the middle, which is fine. And right now on the site, they've got your quarterbacks ranked 5th, your running backs ranked 6th, your wide receivers ranked 5th, and your tight ends ranked 8th. Okay, let's have a look. So in a super flex league, okay, DRK is here. Awesome. Well, DRK, what I need to do straight off the bat, because you got that pro pass and you're a member with us, so you got that discount, I'm going to give you that voucher now. Now, keep in mind, you can't upgrade that voucher to a pro pass. I'm keeping track of all that on the back end. All right, just so y'all know, just so we're on the same page. But you can upgrade it to a priority pass if you want. That's completely up to you. But it's good you're here. We'll be able to chat back and forth. I love that. Okay, so we're starting Daniels and Shuck. Right now, McCarthy has not panned out. He'll still have a chance to win that job next year, but we'll see. At least Shuck has been a nice surprise. Then Henderson, Harvey. Harvey's come on late this year. You've got London, Neighbors. I like that top two. Then Ferguson. That is your 7. Now, you have to start 10. Where did those other 3 names come from? No idea. Right now, it's Krosky, Knoll, Coker. I don't know. Your team is very top-heavy at every position, honestly. Quarterback with Daniels. Running back with Henderson, Harvey. Wide receiver with London, Neighbors. And then tight end, it's not even top-heavy. There's just not really great options, transparently. You have the 102, which, in my opinion, is still valuable, but it's not as valuable as previous years. That 102 is either going to be Mendoza or one of those 3 receivers, depending on which one kind of tickles your fancy, if you will. Maybe there's a less weird way to say that, but here we are, okay? Let's just live with it. We'll go through your war room here in a second. You've definitely got some picks that can make some noise, which I love to see. Okay, overall team grade. I think honesty is important. You're going to need a lot to go right to compete this year, man. You let me know where you think you are, but I think you're going to need a lot to go right. I mean, hypothetically, we already talked through that starting 7, but then your flexes, maybe that's Tate or Tyson or Lemon, or maybe you draft Fernando Mendoza. At the 110 and the 201, I have no confidence that you're drafting someone that you can start straight away. So, personally, I would view this team, like C flat. I definitely think you're a 1-year punt. I do not think you can compete with this team. And as I mentioned in a video last week, I think the worst thing that you can possibly do is just kind of hover in the middle. And I think if you try to compete with this team, that's exactly what you would be doing. You would really just be hovering in the middle at that point. DRK has been talking to the 101. He may not draft Love. Not confirmed, though. As far as this team goes, I'm trash right now. Okay, so we're on the same page. Team's not good. I think you need to punt this entire year and then hopefully invest into 2027 as well. But there are ways that we can get closer. I don't want you to just be, a bad team for a long time. We want our goal is to get better and better and better. You know that. Yeah, but at the same time, there's some time between us being a competitive team right now and where we are. All right, draft capital grade. I'm going to give you a B+. A B+. Overall team grade as of today, like we said, C, and you are a 1-year punt. Untouchables on this team. Malik Neighbors, Drake London, That's the closest that you've got. Maybe Henderson. Holds on this team. I would hold JJ right now just simply because he's not worth anything. I would hold JCM. I would hold Jalen Coker. I would hold a lot of these guys, but the last thing I'll say is like Jalen Knoll too. I'd hold a lot of these guys, honestly. You can drop Michael Carter if you want. I don't think he's ever going to be an important part of a team. You can drop Davis Mills if you want. You could drop Kareem Hunt even before him if you wanted to. There's plenty of droppable names here when your rookie draft happens. Off the waiver wire. Not awesome. There's really not anyone on the waiver wire I'm interested in picking up, honestly. Cool. I think that's all admin stuff that we needed to get done. Let's go to your war room. I think we can probably make some noise here. This is the first team today where I really think that this is going to be really valuable considering the picks that you have. Obviously, if you stick and pick there, you're going to be having one of Mendoza or the top 3 receivers, right? Which is, as you know, Lemon, Tyson, Tate. I don't have a strong opinion between those 3. Maybe you're looking for one, but honestly, if I have the 102, my number one goal would be to try and trade back. Again, like being completely honest with you. At the 110, it's really not a great range of players that I'm obsessed with. You're going to be somewhere in between these names. Your Sadiq, Coleman, Price, Emmett John. I don't think Emmett Johnson and Katron Allen are really considered there. I don't think Omar Cooper is either. But that's kind of the range there. 201, I would say, is not really that different. I don't think Sadiq is going to be there anymore. Coleman, based off what I'm seeing. I doubt Price is either. It's kind of that range that you're in. You know, I would just add like Elijah Surratt here if for whatever reason, you know, he ends up being available. He's one of my favorite players in the class. And the 302, let's just go BPA. So let's just start off here. If you can turn that 110 into a future first, like re-roll it into a 27, 28 future first, that would be my ideal scenario if you can re-roll it. With the 201, yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to trade back, you know, to the 202 to the 205 range in a future second. If you can get something like that done. 302 is not really worth anything, so there's no point in us talking about it. The 101 is where you can maybe make some noise. If you can trade back to the 103 to the 105 plus, you know, future picks, that's ideal in my mind. So let's work through an idea that we've got here. So let's say, like, I'd rather trade back than trade up with your lack of foundation you have here. So who has the 103? The 105 is with the Pittsburgh. So can you get the 105 and their 27 first? Like, what if you sent your 201? This is where the 201 might become valuable. Right? Potentially, we could be making noise here. If you can't get something like that done, which is understandable, I wouldn't do it. Well, that's okay. Can we get something else outside of that first round pick on board with the team? For example, can you trade back and add a Bucky Irving? Can you trade back and add a Zay Flowers? Can you trade back and... Is there a tight end premium in this league? No. I mean, I'd trade back for Warren or Fannin as well. I think if I say Fannin sorry, Warner Fannin, you'd understand, right? So that's an ideal haul, I would say, for you. Let's go ahead and get rid of this for more space. Yeah. All right. Who else has these picks? The 104. If you can trade back to the 104, man. I don't think you've got as much leverage as previous years, but let's say the 104. And can you get a Jaden Higgins? Or Ricky Pearsall? I'd be fine to trade back for that. The 104 plus Ken Walker, and then you can sell him. And maybe you can give, what was it, like your third that you had? You had a 26 third. You can give that in return to make that happen. Yeah, that would all make sense to me. For you, I wouldn't do it if I were them, obviously, but we're trying to find wiggle room here. The 103. You're not going to get much in return for the 103, obviously. I think the most that you could really expect is we got to be realistic. I think the most you could ask for is like a 27 second. You know what I mean? I think that's the most realistic that you could probably get. So hopefully that's valuable, man. I think that's one of the most valuable war rooms that we've done so far. Yeah. What do you think about that, DRK? Want to hear your thoughts on that, but that's probably one of the more valuable war rooms we've done so far. Let's also jump into the chalkboard, obviously, and let's come up with some more ideas for the squad. So RJ Harvey, I'm not completely opposed to selling him if 27 picks are involved. James Conner, you're gonna have to sell in season. Because right now he's not worth anything. I would definitely be open to selling Jake Ferguson now as well. I think he's a regression candidate. Awesome. Good to hear, DRK. So, reason I'm not opposed to selling RJ Harvey is just simply because I do think J.K. Dobbins is going to play a role still. So, if you can re-roll that into like a mid 27 first, I'm totally fine to do that. I also don't mind selling him. You know, I wonder where like a KTC would be right now. I don't really love KTC, but it's a good reference point to kind of understand if you can like pivot. Harvey, right? So I was going to say, like, could you pivot to like a Judkins? I'm not convinced that everybody thinks there's that big of a gap between them, honestly. Maybe I'm living in La La Land. RJ Harvey looks undervalued right now, so maybe he is a hold. I was going to say, if like you can like pivot to like a Judkins, you know, who's injured and is coming back, then you can do that. But maybe Harvey is more of a hold right now based off what people are saying. I have him at RB13. Yeah, maybe he is more of a hold. But if you can get a mid-21st or Judkins, I don't mind doing it. Jake Ferguson, again, I don't really want picks in 2026, but if you can get a 2027 second, I'm willing to sell him for that. Ideally, you want an early to mid-second, right? And then James Conner, I would say sell for any second or an early third. This is assuming that he could come back next year and, start for the Cardinals. If he's starting for the Cardinals, you get a second. If he's still injured, not available to go, then you'd be happy to get even, a third round pick for him. But outside of that, man, I mean, you're not selling Daniels, Shuck, McCarthy, Henderson, Harvey, JCM, London, Neighbors, Noel Coker, any of these younger guys, Strange, Tonjes. So outside of that, I think you're much more of a hold. There's no tight end premium on this. So I wouldn't mind selling Jake Ferguson for a lot of names. Ideally, it's a draft pick, though, so you can keep an asset that retains value no matter what happens this next season. But yeah, you can keep Strange there, build around the rest of the squad. I think you're in a good spot. But let me know if you have any other questions, DRK, before I move on to the next person. But thanks for buying the Pro Pass. I appreciate you big time. Like I said, you've got that voucher in your account. You guys are awesome, though. I appreciate all the great feedback from the new offerings. It's been fun to hear so much positivity, not only from the a la carte offerings, but also for all of our annual Mother Flocker members. A lot of people have been sending me messages saying how much they love it. So I appreciate y'all big time. I am going to wait and see if DRK has any other questions. But the next Pro Pass, which is obviously getting the priority pass as well, they skipped the queue, is going to be Jamie. And then after Jamie, we got Scotty with the Pro Pass. And then we've got Iceborne in the Dong Song as well. All right. Let me go ahead and clear these for the next person. Scotty's here. Okay, awesome. What do you think about my message I sent with the submission? Let me remind myself. Considering getting Mahomes, he won't move Dart, but is open to talks. 110 plus McCarthy may be needed since Mendoza likely isn't there at the 110 midseason. Okay, so are you telling me you have an offer where you can sell the 110 and McCarthy for Mahomes? Am I reading that right? Surely not. Are you telling me this offer is on the table? Surely I'm not reading that correctly. Sorry I didn't read that before. My bad. Traded Aladdin Ayuk for a 26 first, 27 second. Honestly, I probably would have taken that back in hindsight. Oh, wait, you got Ferguson and Harvey as well. Okay, that's relatively fair. He said yes, but he needs more. So he's willing to trade Patrick Mahomes for the 110 and JJ McCarthy. I mean, yeah, well, what could we do to get him across the line then? Could you give him Jake Ferguson? He says, like, one more piece and he'd be down. I mean, can you give him Jake Ferguson? If so, you are robbing this man blind. I mean, could you give him Ferguson? Could you give him Strange? Could you give him... I'd give him so many different things. I'd give him McMillan, Jalen McMillan. I'd give him, what do you have? You have the 201, the 302. I'd do any of these. I would do any of those to get that across the line. Any of those pieces. Honestly, I'd probably offer, I'd offer any of these that you like the most first. Don't offer the 302. I don't want him to be disrespected. Like, you already have him on the reel right now, and you're going to get a huge steal. So don't make it, don't add any friction into that deal happening. Because you're getting the steal of the century. And it's great because Mahomes fits your timeline as well. I know he says that he wants to be ready for week 1. It's just unrealistic, guys. So, appreciate you, DRK. Thanks for letting me look at the squad, dude. That was fun. Okay, we got Jamie up next, and again, the only reason I'm going to these guys is because they've got the pro pass, which gives them the priority pass. They get to kind of skip that queue a little bit, if you will. So we got Jamie, and let's see. You have a Superflex start 11. So let's make sure we note that down. Who Shot Big Phil is a team name. That's funny. All right, Superflex start 11. That's a big old squad there, man. That's a rolling deep lineup. You can start up to 6 receivers in a format like that. Wow. You're currently ranked, Who Shot Big Phil, 9th in your league. So you're not one of the top teams according to the My Teams page. But that doesn't mean that you've got a bad team. We'll definitely have a look at it and see where you kind of stand as of today. Okay. Who Shot Big Phil? He says, took too many olds in mind to compete in a startup. Diggs, Tyreek. So many what ifs. Jefferson back to Jefferson. Devonta becoming one. DJ Moore traded. Maybe Woody keeping his job. Not sure whether to compete or 1-year punt. Maybe trade Josh Jacobs, etc. Okay. Well, I'll help you make that decision here, my friend. And we'll definitely make sure we make the right decision here together. Just going to note down a couple things here on admin. All right, so all right, Jamie, thanks for getting the Pro Pass. Thanks for becoming an annual member and upgrading to the Pro Pass. I'm going to give you that team review voucher now. Just keep in mind that you can't use that voucher to upgrade to the Pro Pass again. You can use it to upgrade to Priority Pass if you want to. Thanks for the support. All right. So in a Superflex, start 11, we've got Nix, Lawrence, Jones. At running back, we've got Genty, Jacobs, Marks. At receiver, we've got Jefferson, Smith, DJ, Diggs, Ayuk. At tight end, we've got Strange, Arroyo, Jawan, Johnson. We don't have a first and 26. We do have our first and 27. So there's a little bit of a, plus minus there. So your starting lineup is going to be Nix, Lawrence, Genty, Jacobs, Jefferson, Smith, Strange. And then here's what's hard. You have to find 4 more names to start. Right now, that's probably DJ Moore, Diggs, maybe Marks, maybe Rachaad White, maybe Jalen Coker, maybe Brandon Ayuk. There's a lot of maybes here, which you kind of mentioned earlier on as well when I was going through this team. Right now, I'd probably give this team, I'm kind of leaning like B minus, C plus. I'll go B minus for now. Do I think you can contend? I think you can make the playoffs. I don't really view this as a serious contender, though. I just imagine there are much better teams at tight end, at wide receiver, at minimum. So I don't see, I see you making the playoffs, but I don't see you being a real contender. That means that I would probably prefer to punt. And hopefully next year we're in a place where we're a strong contender with the assets that we've built up. So I would probably go a 1-year punt here. Now, hear me out. I believe that you can, if you choose to, try and contend with this roster. However, just keep in mind that while you'll make the playoffs, I just don't see a realistic chance of you, truly winning it all. I guess Jefferson is your closest thing to an untouchable, Genty probably, actually, Ashton Genty. But I think we can move on from Jefferson. I don't think we actually can now. This offseason's not a good time to. Players that I would hold. Rachaad White could get a starting job in free agency. I would hold Brandon Ayuk for sure. I would hold Trey Harris. I would hold Jalen Coker. Those are some great holds. Easy drops. You can drop Marcus Yarns if you want. You can drop Caden Prather if you want. You can drop Mitchell Tinsley if you'd like. You can let go of Malik Davis should you choose to. There's plenty of drops there. I'm imagining your waiver wire is naked. Taj Brooks, I'd rather roster than some of those other names you've got. And then Keandre Lambert-Smith, I'd rather roster than some of those names you've got as well. Okay. So, unfortunately, the War Room is not going to be as effective for someone like yourself because you don't have a ton of flexibility with this team. But we can still go to it and work our magic, if you will. So why don't we jump into the War Room here? All right. So a 1-year punt, we've got the 206. So if you're going to stick and pick at the 206, you know, it's going to be some combination. You know, you're probably going to be left with one of these names here. So one of the Jeremy Bernards, the Ty Simpsons, the Skylar Bells, Antonio Wilsons, Jacoby Lane, Chris Bell, Eli Stowers. That's what I imagine you're probably left with. We'll go BPA with these others. Although what I would prefer to do with that 206 is go out there and trade for a young player that hasn't proven anything yet. And let me give you some examples here. 1 second. Let me think of some examples. Okay, so young player that hasn't proven anything yet. Instantly what comes to my mind, Matthew Golden, right? If I can turn that 206 into Matthew Golden, I'm feeling good about that. If I can turn that 206 into, what's another name that comes to mind? Again, like young players that could develop into something even better. Bashul Tutin. Maybe like a Josh Downs. I like Tutin and Golden a lot, actually. Downs is a fine option. I'm not obsessed with it. I wonder if you could get... This is a super flex league, right? I wonder if you could buy low on like a JJ McCarthy or a Michael Penix. So those are some of the ideas I would have there. I like the Golden one a lot. Can't guarantee that it would be doable in your league, but it's certainly worth trying. Jaden Higgins would be the dream. I just think he's going to be too expensive. So I'll write his name down, but I do think he'll be too expensive. And then with that 407, can you turn that into any future fourth? Because I'm not really obsessed with this class right here. But that is helpful, obviously. Hopefully you're able to take that away and take some actionable advice from it. Beyond that, let's jump into the chalkboard here. And let's come up with some ideas for the squad. So again, with the mindset of doing a 1-year punt, I think names that you could trade, Josh Jacobs comes to mind. Woody Marks comes to mind. Devonta Smith comes to mind. DJ Moore, Stephon Diggs. But we're going to have to split these into two different categories. DJ Moore, Stephon Diggs, Juwan Johnson, and David Njoku. Okay, so We'll split these into off-season trades. And we'll split this into in-season trades. Why am I making that differentiator? Because there are certain players whose value will go up in season. Those players include DJ Moore, Stephon Diggs, for sure, and probably these tight ends. Whereas these guys, I think, are priced where you could ideally sell them right now. Kyle Williams' case is not a bad idea. I think it's just maybe right outside that range. Not a bad idea, though. It's just that receiver room is a bit crowded right now. All right, Josh Jacobs. Honestly, I don't want to sell Josh Jacobs for a 26 pick, but if you can get a mid to late 27 first, I would be completely fine with that. If you can get a early to mid 28 first, I'd be fine with that. Obviously, in an ideal world, you're getting a 27 first from like a mid team, not a contender, right? Josh Jacobs, we can also try and sell him. Let's see what some equivalent names are on the Flock site. Let's see expert consensus rankings. I wonder what running backs are around Josh Jacobs' range. So RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey's not a bad option there. Turning him to a Cam Scadaboo. RJ Harvey, Breece Hall, Quinshon Judkins. If you can turn Jacobs into any of those names, and, you know, let's say it takes like some small asset to do so, I think it would be a no-brainer. Especially with Breece Hall about to get a bag in free agency. I'd have absolutely no problem taking any of those ideas. Woody Marks, honestly, I feel like Woody Marks is too cheap right now in the sense of, yes, he's not been great. Yes, he's just been serviceable, but also their offensive line was terrible. So with Texans could do something in free agency, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I just would prefer like an early to mid 27 second if you're going to sell him. Devonta Smith, honestly, the same range as Josh Jacobs here. And you'll notice I'm not trying to acquire any 26 picks. That's just on purpose, to be honest with you. DJ Moore in season, I would take any first in any year if you can get it. And that's hoping that he kind of like reestablishes himself, or maybe he's traded somewhere. Stephon Diggs, I would take, you know, like a mid to late 27 second. Juwan Johnson, I would take, you know, multiple thirds. Same thing for David Njoku. So that's a pretty in-depth game plan there. Let me see if there's any contenders for Jacobs, and then we'll move on here. Yeah, so this guy has Judkins. I think you can make that work. This guy has Scadaboo. I don't think he's competing, so that might be tough. The ETN guy certainly could use a Josh Jacobs. So I wonder if you could get the 105 from him. So we'll add that trade as well. At that point, I'd be fine with it because you're going to get either Mendoza, Lemon, Tyson, Tate. I'd be fine with that as well. That makes sense for him. Because he's looking to compete, and he's not going to get a running back from the middle of the first round that he can compete with. So anytime you have those contenders in those middle first round slots, they become good trade partners because it's a beneficial, you know, win-win. I wouldn't, not obsessed with beyond the 105 though. But yeah, appreciate you, Jamie. Thanks so much for letting me review the squad. You should get your team playbook here within the next 3 to 4 days. Appreciate you big time. All right. That brings us, I believe, to Scotty Boops. Scotty Boops, who got the pro pass here. Appreciate you big time, Scotty. Let me go ahead and set up your
your playbook here on the background. Let me know if you're still here with me. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Let's see. Let's see. He says he's here, which is awesome. 5, 8. Cool. Scotty Boops. We got a Scotty in the we might have another Scotty in the community now. Scotty Boops team name is Case Scout. All right, you're currently ranked first, which is awesome. You are in, let me see if it's still doing the back end glitch. You are in a Superflex Start 12, is that right? That's what I'm reading on the back end. So I'm seeing a Superflex Start 12, so it looks something like that. Start 2 IDP, okay. All right. Currently, they've got, the league has your quarterback ranked 5th, your running backs ranked 7th, your wide receivers ranked 7th, and your tight ends ranked 2nd. And, oh boy, you've got a ton of capital, not only in this class, but in future classes. So you look like you are built for the future, which will be fun. Which will be fun to talk about that all together. And I'm assuming the war room is going to be very valuable for a owner like yourself. Okay, I think we almost got you all set up. All right. All right, Scotty. Let's look at the squad. Superflex, start 12, which means you're starting 10 offensive players. Is that right, Case? Mike says, I swear I prefer the offseason to the actual season. I just love scheming. You and me both, actually. I think I align with that a lot. Start 11 offense. Okay. Start 11 offense. So either way, you've got a very large lineup here that you need to account for. I'm just going to put the national championship game on in the background if that's cool with y'all. I'm going to put the natty on. Why is that saying that's the wrong password? Give me 1 second. Okay, we're in. Let me put the natty on while we're doing this. Okay, I've got it on in the background. We gotta pump through some of these reviews. So I think Indiana's gonna win, but I mean I would love to see an upset. I mean the thing is, as a Virginia Cavalier fan, I don't like Miami either, but I always love an underdog. All right, let's get cooking here. So we've got Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix in this Superflex format. We've got Henderson and no one. Let's just say Tucker for now. We've got Neighbors, Adunze, then Bowers. Is there a premium in this? No premium. So that's your 7. Then you've got to start 4 more players on offense. Adunze, Hunter, Higgins, Downs, I guess. Yep. But obviously we're about to add Jeremiah Love to the squad, so that's going to help. You're also going to add one of Tyson and Tate and Lemon to the squad. Honestly, I don't think that this team... I think you play next year as if you've got house money. So when I look at like a pathway for a team like this, I'm gonna label you a sleeper. You've got 1, 2, 3 into the 4 first-round picks in 2027. So obviously, as it's currently constructed, it's not the best team. But when you consider all the draft picks, I think this is a solid, like, A-. I think you're in a really great spot. You have a solid foundation. And if you're not competing this year, you're definitely competing next year. Like, I wouldn't go out of my way. I'm going to give you A+ for your draft capital grade, by the way. I wouldn't go out of my way to, try and be a bad team this next year. I think you have too many foundational pieces where if you get into the playoffs, who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Like, in fact, if you were to trade one of those 27 picks, you might be a serious contender. Because again, think about it. Daniels, Penix, Henderson, Love, Neighbors, Adunze, Bowers. And then you're flexing Travis Hunter. Let's just say Mekhi Lemon for now, hypothetically. And then one of Higgins or Downs or Booty or Besh. It's certainly possible. I kind of lean towards trusting the process still, meaning if you're winning games next year, I'm not going to be upset about it. If you make the playoffs next year, I'm not going to be upset about it. But there could be a point at the middle of the season where you're like, okay, I am now 4-3. Maybe I'll use some of these 27 firsts and actually push to compete this year. If Jeremiah Love comes out of the block screaming, if the wide receiver that you draft comes out the block screaming, then you have the flexibility mid-season to say, I'm going from a sleeper and I'm flipping this into a contender right now because I've got these picks to do so. And just remember, like, the goal in Dynasty is to win a Dynasty league. So don't be afraid, to actually go out there and do that mid-season if it pans out. If you need one more year, then you can play the sleeper role. But untouchables right now would be Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors. I guess you could put the 101 there too. As far as holds, I'd be holding Travis Hunter for sure if I were you, especially with the ADP format that you've got. I want to hold Jalen Knoll. I want to hold Jack Besh. I want to hold Brashard Smith. Those are some great holds there for you. If you want to drop some players, I mean, Bailey Zappi can definitely be dropped. Come on. What is he even doing on your squad? I think you can fire Jalen Polk into the sun as well. On the waiver wire, Jonnu Smith is not really that interesting. I do think Jerome Ford is worth a mention just because he is a free agent. He could get a look somewhere. Outside of that, I'm not really too bothered by anyone. It's a nice squad, man. This is a fun one. This is one of those like really fun squads to own because you're just so excited about what the future might possibly hold. Okay, let's jump into the war room here. And before I do that, let me make sure I give Scotty his Pro Pass benefits. So let me go ahead and give you that free voucher. Again, you get this with the Pro Pass. You basically get 2 playbooks. But friendly reminder, this voucher that you're about to get, you cannot upgrade this voucher to a Pro Pass again. However, you can upgrade it to a Priority Pass if you want to. Appreciate you, Scotty, for showing some love to the channel. All right. Shall we jump into your war room? I think your war room is going to be very helpful. At least I hope so. Okay. So at the 101, obviously if you're going to stick and pick, you're going to grab Jeremiah Love. Honestly, I kind of don't see why you wouldn't do that at this point. At the, you know what I mean? Like he's kind of exactly what you need. I think you should just stick and pick with Love at this point. You already have so many future picks. There's no point in trading the 101 for a huge haul and then, oh, I still have no running backs I can build around, but I've got 20 first-round picks. You know what I mean? I would rather just take the player. At the 104, it's either Mendoza or one of the big 3 wide receivers, which is Tate, Lemon, Tyson. At the 201, if you stick and pick, yeah, we mentioned it earlier. It's really hard to get a gauge on that right now. But I think you're somewhere between these names, if I had to guess. I'm not going to really bother with these third-round picks because it's way too early to project what any of those are actually going to be worth. Now, I don't think you trade the 101. Of course, if there's some haul that, you know, comes your way, Scotty Boops, then you got to consider it. You know, if someone's like, I'm going to give you Ashton Genty in a first, of course, you know, don't turn a blind eye to that. But you need to have some pillars on your team that you can build around long-term. And Jeremiah Love will be that pillar for you. So I lean towards, let's not even like play that game. The 104, unfortunately, you're positioned in a spot in this class where I think the 105 is a huge tier break. So you don't have as much flexibility as maybe a team that had the 102 or the 103. The only place I would tier down here is to the 105. Now, keep in mind that there's a chance if you go to the 105, you're not getting a player that you love. But I'm completely happy personally with the Mendoza, with the Tate, with the Tyson, with a Lemon. I'm completely fine with whatever I get. So let's have a quick look and let's see who has that 105 and see if there's a deal that makes sense. Maybe there isn't a deal that makes sense, but it's worth looking at. Okay, this guy has a 105. So if you can trade back... Yeah, this is what I was concerned about. I don't think anything makes sense here. I mean, he's not going to give you RJ Harvey to tier back. DK Metcalf doesn't make sense. He's not going to give you CeeDee Lamb or George Pickens. I mean, I'm not completely opposed to like adding Kyle Pitts, hypothetically, in a deal like this. It's not perfect, if I'm honest, but I'm not opposed to adding Pitts. You can't ask for an additional first. You could ask for the 106 and then you send the 201. That might be the play. Let's say he's sitting there and he's like, oh, I really want to make sure I get Mendoza who's on the board or Tyson who's on the board, whoever it ends up being. That might be one of those ones that has to happen draft day. But outside of that, nothing really makes sense. I mean, of course I could tell you to try something like this. I just don't think it's realistic where, you know, you ask for their 27 first, you give them the 201. Honestly, if you give them the 201 and the 301, I would do something like that. But again, that feels completely unrealistic to me. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. So, limited there, unfortunately, but obviously if you can get any future first for your 201, you do that. And, you know, these late picks, I would just say use in packages freely, you know. So, for example, if you're going to trade the 104 and someone's willing to give you, just off the top of my head, they're willing to give you what, you know, you already have Roma Dunze. I'm trying to think. Like, they're willing to give you Garrett Wilson, but they want the 309 back. Fine, like, throw the 309 in there. But unfortunately, there's not as much flexibility being at the 104 compared to the 103 and the 102. But I think that's a good start. And I think that's going to be very helpful for you heading into the year. Take a screenshot of that. You've got that available to you now. You can use it for whatever purposes you'd like to. Let's jump to the chalkboard. Now, the chalkboard is going to be less effective for a team like you because you don't have any veterans. You know what I mean? Like, this is typically where I go through and I say, all right, let's make these moves. We can talk about Michael Penix. I think he's more of a hold right now. We can talk about Roma Dunze. But I don't really want to trade him. We can talk about Josh Downs. If anything, I'd be curious what I could get for Downs in the 201 in this class. Yeah. But do you know what I mean? Like, in your position, it makes no sense for me to look at most of your players and tell you to trade them. Like, why would I tell you to trade Daniels or Henderson or Neighbors or, you know, Hunter and IDP or Bowers? So you've steered this ship in a clear direction. It doesn't make much sense for me to try and push you in an opposite direction now. Michael Penix, I think, is, you know, much more of a hold than anything. But if you're able to get any future first for him, then I don't mind doing that. That's probably more of a in-season trade. You know, if he improves his value. I think right now he's much more of a hold. Off-season trades. I'm just curious. In your league, does the Rome Odunze guy value him well over Luther Burden? Because in that scenario, I'd love to go try and get Burden in a plus. If not, then, you know, you don't have to pursue that. But can you get Burden and he has Scadaboo and Judkins. So I'm just curious. There's a lot of flexibility here, actually. So Burden plus Scadaboo. Burden plus Judkins. And in either of these deals, you could potentially offer him like the 201. That's some idea there. Now, if Luther Burden isn't on the table, I'm curious, where is the consensus right now on Rome? Right now, like a McConkey. I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I don't think tearing down to some of these guys is really worth it. Okay, sure. Worth a try, but the worst you can say is no. Can you go from Odunze to Brian Thomas and get a plus on top? Let's see. Who has Brian Thomas? Okay. He's already got Luther Burden, so that idea doesn't work. Like I said, your flexibility is just not, unfortunately, what we want it to be. When I look at a name like a Josh Downs, I'm wondering if we can move from Downs. And can we move up to a Devonta Smith? That doesn't make sense for your specific build, unfortunately. Can we move to a Marvin Harrison or a Zay Flowers? I don't think you've got a lot of leverage there, unfortunately. Yeah, man. You've really kind of had like a defined... Look, Marvin Harrison would be a dream. If you can attach like the 201, the 301, the 309, I don't know. I'm trying to get as creative as I can, but being fully transparent, your team really doesn't have a lot of flexibility. It does, but you need to stay in the same path that you've already taken. That's what I'm trying to explain, right? And the names that people would want to trade for, you don't really want to trade for them right now. So, but yeah, man, thanks for letting me look at the squad. Let me know, do you have any questions? Is there anything that I didn't answer well? I'd be happy to look at any of that. And I appreciate you big time, man. He says, yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Nice to know we're seeing it the same way. Of course, man. I appreciate you again. Let me look at the squad. Very kind of you. All right, we got Icyborn. We've got the Dong. All right. As the Natty is starting to kick off here, let's get G Dowell 42s done. Let's get G Dowell 42 done here. Appreciate you, G Dowell. Let's get some of this admin out of the way. You are currently, G Dowell, ranked second in your league. Your league format. Let's have a look at the back end. What does the back end say? The back end says 1 quarterback, 14 teams, start 8. 1 quarterback, 14 teams, start 8. So you are the meat and potatoes. And again, Scotty, let me know if you have any last questions there. And on the Flock site, they currently have Wait, why is there no quarterbacks here? I guess you have no quarterback? Am I reading that right? All right, at running back, they have you ranked 6th. At wide receiver, they have you ranked 1st. And at tight end, they have you ranked 13th. Okay. I'm in a 14-person keeper league where we keep 3 players each season. I've got a lot of guys that are solid, and there are some teams in my league that don't have 3 keeper-worthy guys. I also got 2nd last year, so my picks are low. Wondering who I should keep and who to trade to get the best value. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do for you, my friend, is we're going to go straight to the chalkboard, and we're going to talk about ranking keepers. And then we're going to talk about 3 keepers, wondering who I should trade, who should I keep, and who to trade to get the best value. All right, ranking keepers and then trade ideas. Got to keep in mind that, you know, values are going to really fluctuate in a keeper league from now until September. So I would be really patient. I don't think you should really focus on too many trades. But in this keeper league, JSN would be, let's go tier 1. I would go JSN at 1. I would go Jamar Chase at 2. And then I would go another tier. Tier 2. In tier 2 at 3, I will put Travion Henderson. Again, assuming this is a keeper league like you mentioned. After that, we go RJ Harvey at 4. And then we'll go to a new tier at tier 3. So 5 would be, what, I guess Devontae Adams, a tie between, you know, Devontae Adams and Derrick Henry. Full transparency, there's no one else really. Oh, you've got Scattaboo. My bad. Let's put Scattaboo at 4. Which means we'll put RJ Harvey at 5. And then these guys will both be 6. Okay. Trade ideas. If I were you, I would be looking to trade Derrick Henry. You could try that in the offseason. But I'm kind of thinking from a redraft mindset now because you're in a keeper league. But I'd love to go out there and trade Derrick Henry for any of, you know, James Cook. I'd love to trade him for a Bucky Irving, Quinshon Judkins, Breece Hall. I'd love to trade him for a Chase Brown. I think those are the names that make sense to me. Outside of him, I guess you could look to trade Devontae Adams, but Devontae Adams is going to help you compete here for a couple more years. If you're going to move Adams, it needs to be for a name that can help you compete still. But again, if you only have 3 keepers, then I would just keep those top 3 that I mentioned. So yeah. But if you're able to keep JSN, Jamar Chase, and Travion Henderson, you are starting off with one hell of a squad, dude. I think you should feel great about that squad starting off. And then obviously from there, you know, you've already got 2 foundational receivers. Hopefully at the back end of the first, there's a running back that's worthwhile to take as your RB2. And then later on, hopefully you find like a really good quarterback value down the board, like a Jaden Daniels after this year, or, you know, a Brock Purdy from this last season, Trevor Lawrence. If a Trey McBride or a Brock Bowers are available at your first pick, I would not be opposed to it, especially with you already having the JSN, Chase, and Hendersons of the world. You've already got a solid foundation, so if there's an elite tight end, I'm not really opposed to it either. But yeah, man, I appreciate you for letting me look at the squad, and I hope that that is helpful. We're going to get you a playbook here within the next, let's say, 3 to 4 business days. Appreciate you big time, my dude. All right, the next time I jump on a live stream, Iceborne and the Dong Song, we will get to, you know what? I think I'll do those now. Yeah. Let's do those now. Let's go to Icyborne here, as the Miami Hurricanes are almost at the the 50-yard line here. Carson Beck rolls out, throws to Malachi Toney, incompletion. 3rd and long for the Miami Hurricanes here. All right, Iceborne, let's have a look at the squad. Team name is Aryan Longhorns. Arlen Longhorns, I'm sorry. Let me double check this is actually one quarterback. This is a Superflex start 10. Okay, I'm glad I looked at that. Superflex start 10, which is the middle ground. Okay. You are currently ranked 8th. Okay, and according to the site, they've got you at 6 for quarterbacks. They've got you at 4 for running backs, 11 for receivers, and 6 for tight ends. All right, let's have a look. Thanks for the redo. Looking forward to hearing your advice. All right, Icyborne, let's get to it. So, in a Superflex start 10, we are starting Mahomes, Lawrence, Genty, Brees, Metcalf, Downs, Pitts. We have to start 3 more names, which would be between Kincaid, Marks, Booty. It's not a great team, honestly. The depth is pretty weak, man. This depth is pretty weak. I think I'm going to have a very specific way I'm going to attack this offseason. Because I think if we're realistic, you're not a serious contender. I think being transparent with yourself, being honest with yourself is very important. And I imagine you would agree that you're just not a very serious contender here. So let's look at that together here in a second. Okay. All right, so overall team grade as of today. Look, wide receivers are weak, really. Running back depth is weak. Don't have a quarterback 3 that you can rely on right now. That wide receiver room is rough, dude. I think I'm going to give this a C flat. I think I'm going to give you a C flat right now. There's just too many holes on this team. And I would very strongly suggest the 1-year punt. All right, because you're not a contender right now. You got a decent amount of draft capital. I'll give you a B+ on that. Untouchables. Genty, maybe? Genty's probably the closest you got. Holds, I would hold Bashul Tootin. I would hold Tyler Algier. I would definitely hold Jonathan Brooks. And let's add Mac Jones to that. Easy drops. You can drop Ty Felton if you need to. You can drop Josh Johnson if you need to. Mitchell Evans if you need to. On the waiver wire, Devon Vele should definitely be rostered, in my opinion. And I'd rather roster Jameis Winston than Josh Johnson. So let's go Jameis Winston there. What if he gets a shot somewhere this year? Yeah. So again, I don't think the team's in the best spot. I think you would probably agree. You got the 103, which is great. You're going to get an impact player there, and we got some flexibility. But let's have a look at that 103, and let's jump to the war room. This is a game plan for your rookie draft. And obviously, this is subject to change if, things are happening in the landscape of the NFL draft. But if you're at the 103, it's either going to be Fernando Mendoza or a big three wide receiver. Okay, so that's Mendoza, Tyson Lemon, excuse me. As Mendoza, speaking of the devil, is about to step up for his first play of the national championship game. He is on the 5-yard line. And he's got to throw to Omar Cooper, who just jukes the shit out of his defender. Man, Omar Cooper's nice. In that second round, I'm gonna say BPA, but just so you know, I mean, names that could make sense there. It's really too early. Names that could make sense there, you know, your Sadiqs, your Colemans, your Price, your Emmett Johnsons, your Katron Allens, your Omar Coopers, who we just talked about, your Elijah Surratt's, your Jeremy Bernards, Ty Simpsons, Skylar Bells. These are all names that can make a lot of sense. Jacoby Lane, right? Now, I would like to trade down from the 103 to the 104 or 105 and get a plus on top. So, that's my ideal outcome. Unless you're obsessed with one of these guys and you want the ability to make that pick, I am completely on board with the idea of trading down. So, who is a team that has the 104 and the 105? Let's have a look. The 105 is with Team 4. So, if we can get the 105... Curious what plus we could get on top with this team. Like, the 105 and Bucky Irving is probably unrealistic. The 105 and Ricky Pearsall, I don't think is that unrealistic. I think that is a possibility in some leagues. I mean, maybe you can send like a late second to do that. You know, again, like if you have to send your 212 or something to make this happen. Mendoza throws out of the pocket. And it's incomplete. That is the one thing with his game. He's not a great improviser. Okay, if we can get the 105, you're not going to get a Dunze. You're not going to get Bucky or one of these names. But what about a future first? Hear me out. Because you're also going to give them the 203 and the 208 and the 209. Could something like that work? I don't know. I'd love to try it. And with these seconds, you can use in any packages if it kind of gets a deal over the line, which is what we kind of just showed there. Okay, let's have a look at who has the 104 before we go to your chalkboard. Okay, this could potentially work. Oh my gosh, look at this roster. My gosh. Well, look, something that's simple. You know, I'm not obsessed with the back end of this class, but if you can get the 109, you know, and you end up sending something like the 212 or something back, you know, if he wants to move up one spot and, you know, get the guy that he really wants, you know, that's something that you could offer. He has plenty of future firsts. I don't think he's going to be willing to trade anything that's worthwhile. Yeah. Honestly, dude, that team has nothing that's worth anything outside of that first idea. But that's a rough idea, a rough game plan for your rookie draft. And you can take a screenshot of that. Obviously, that's available to you now. And the stream will never be deleted, so you can always come back and have a look at it. Now, let's jump to the chalkboard a little bit. Again, with this idea of being a one-year punt. That team is crazy, by the way. One-year punt. We could definitely move on from Woody Marks, DK Metcalf. Woody Marks, DK Metcalf. I wouldn't mind selling Kyle Pitts if the right offer came up. Or Dalton Kincaid. Like, I think you can sell one of those guys comfortably. Yeah, we're not going to sell Brees or Genty. I don't think you sell Mahomes. I would say, like, in season, you can try to tear down from Mahomes if there's value. What I will say is Mahomes is kind of perfect for your team because you're 1 year punting, and I don't think he's going to play the first half of the season, regardless of what he's telling people. But yeah. So for Woody Marks, I wonder what is KTC's current value of a Woody Marks? Like, where would they, just out of pure curiosity, right around the 203? Interesting. Woody Marks, I'd love to sell him for an early 27 second. Or even early to mid. But what I'd rather do is sell Woody Marks and one of your picks that you've got. You've got like the 203, the 208. Let's sell Woody Marks in the 208 and let's jump up to like the 107. You know, let's jump up to the 107. Let's jump up to the 108. Let's jump up to the 109, something like that. I'd rather do that. Obviously, the higher you can go, the better. For DK Metcalf, we'll take any first in any year. I don't think that's really possible anymore. You can take multiple seconds. From Kyle Pitts, I do think any first in any year is a real possibility with the way he played last year. And Kincaid, maybe we would rather just hold Kincaid at this point. But that's probably what I would do with this squad, Icy Born. I appreciate you so much, man. Thanks for letting me have a look at the squad. You'll get your playbook here within the next 3 to 4 business days. And again, appreciate you big time for being here and showing some love. Okay, one more of the day. That's the Dong Song. Miami has the ball here. Mark Fletcher with a nice little 4-yard carry. Let's clear the queue up. All right, so anybody who gets a playbook going forward is going to have a clear queue. Let's get this last one done. This is the Dong Song, who actually was a winner of one of our giveaways. And that team name is out of pocket. I may F your booty. That is wild. That's wild, dude. It's an IDP league where I can put Hunter in my DB slot, he says. 10 teams start 10. All right, 10 teams start 10. And this is Superflex. It's actually a Superflex start 11. All right, Superflex start 11 is what he's got. I see Mike in the chat still. That's awesome. All right. And you're currently ranked first. The site has you number 1 at quarterback, number 3 on running back, number 2 on wide receiver, and number 4 on tight end. So either you don't have Dong Song. What may happen here is you haven't set your rookie draft order for 2026, or you haven't transitioned your league. Yeah, this is an outdated league from 2025. So I'm not going to be able to look at your 2026 draft right now, but that's fine. I'll still be able to look at your entire team. And I don't think it's going to change much because this is a good team, is what I'm trying to convey. Draft capital will give a B flat as of right now. Overall team grade. So you're starting Drake May, Joe Burrow, Nix and Shuck there as backups. Genty, Brees, T-Mac, Nico, Warren. That is 8. Then you're flexing Garrett Wilson, Lab McConkey, Travis Hunter in one of your IDP spots, Jacoby Myers. You've also got Woody Marks, RJ Harvey, Bashul Tootin. This team is great. I'm going to give this team probably an A flat. And you're definitely a contender, man. There's no doubt about it. Even if I see those 26 picks, I'm telling you, you're a contender. There's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't go out there and contend this year. Yeah, this is just a very, very good team. Very good team. Your untouchables. Drake May. Joe Burrow. Holds. I would hold Bashul Tootin. Travis Hunter for sure. Jalen Coker. Pat Bryant. Wait. How did the... Oh my gosh. How did Indiana get the ball back so quick? All right, easy drops. You can drop Devin Singletary pretty easily. You can drop Chigakonkwo. Whoa. On the waiver wire. Oh, Malik Willis has got to be picked up. Same with Devon Vele. You got to pick those guys up. All right, let's jump straight to the chalkboard because we don't have the 26 picks. But again, you are 100% a contender. I mean, what do you need, dude? You don't need anything. What exactly does this team need? They don't have a need. If anything, I think you could probably sell Tyler Shuck. You could sell Shuck. You could sell Marks. And you could sell Gadsden. If you wanted to. You don't need to make a single move, the Dong Song. Like, seriously. You don't need to make a move at all. I'm just trying to get creative for you. Because this team is incredibly impressive. Omar Cooper with a nice play again. Okay. All right, so who needs a quarterback? Who needs a tight end? Let's have a look. None of those teams. Team 5 needs a tight end. So I wonder if we can go get... Can we sing Gadsden and a first and go grab like a CeeDee Lamb? You can use 26 picks if you have them, by the way, for this. But I would love that. I wouldn't mind going to get James Cook. If you did like Woody Marks in a first for James Cook, I would be open to that idea as well. All right, let's keep looking. This guy doesn't need a tight end. This guy doesn't really need anything. There you go, Elijah Surratt. There you go. Teammate definitely needs quarterback, so that could work out well. Can you send Tyler Shuck? We would be going after George Pickens here. So can you send Tyler Shuck for George Pickens? And if you have like a 26 second, you can add this here. You could also go and add like Woody Marks. You could also, what else could you throw in there? Bashul Tootin. I wouldn't throw him in there right now. Xavier Worthy, Jacoby Myers. That could work. Let's see. This guy could use a quarterback. Can you get Cam Scadaboo? Can you sell Tyler Shuck and Woody Marks for Cam Scadaboo? That could work out for you well. All right, last one here. This guy doesn't really have anything that you want, but could you send Gadsden and try and net back and, you know, a Golden? So Gadsden for Matthew Golden. honestly, we won a 27-second on top of that. So those are some ideas there, my friend. Appreciate you big time for letting me look at the squad. I'm glad you were the winner of that playbook voucher a couple days ago. But all I got to say is just keep contending, man. You've got one of the best teams in the league, obviously. You're a clear #1 contender. So don't waste those contending years. Appreciate you guys big time for the stream. Let's go watch the national championship and hopefully watch Elijah Sherratt put on a show. All right, later, guys. Love.